Hey, this is Scott of photographybanzai.com. Today I'm talking about flash sync speeds. I still haven't been able to pick up a full-frame camera yet, but I'm in the process of eventually doing that. And as I look at the D600, D800, there are some differences, of course, with the flash sync speed. One is 1/200th of a second, the other is 1/250th of a second maximum. That's the standard flash sync speed, manual flash and all that, the maximum speed that you can have your shutter go off. I did see an article from the strobist about the D600 and how he can't recommend that camera. I wanted to look into that a little bit more, see what type of issue is related to the sync speed and what other ways you can compensate. So what I came up with is, of course, the shutter speed will affect the ambient light, but it won't affect the flash power, which is the best thing there. You've got the manual flash, you want as much power from there as possible. And I'm talking mostly about outside, broad daylight, or lighter situations that you need to care more about the shutter speed and dealing with bright ambient light. Next one is decrease the ISO. The D600 and a lot of the newer cameras have 50 ISO, which is a good thing. So you can decrease it to that point, but it does also affect the flash power and the ambient. So you just need to increase your flash power in that situation. Next one is shrink your aperture. That again affects both the flash power and the ambient, but it also changes your depth of field. So that's kind of the third option that I would like to avoid a lot of the time, because I would prefer thinner depth of field in most situations of more artistic nature. The last one is to use an ND filter. This affects everything, of course, but it also adds the issue of autofocus. You might have problems autofocusing with a really strong ND filter, and you could also potentially have a quality reduction or some type of tint to your photos that you have to deal with in post-processing. So that's about it that I came up with. I still am leaning towards the D600 because it's smaller and it's cheaper, of course. I think I can manage those flash sync, reductions that they put into the cheaper camera. Of course, Canon, they're even worse off, but Pentax as well. Most of the other companies. So that's about it for this one. Thanks.